What up, guys? Here, Dr. Vic here. Excited to share this episode with you as we're going to be discussing a quote in the Bible. It's actually one of my favorite quotes in the Bible. To give you a backstory, I've actually read the Bible twice when I was in high school. And it was one of the things I just went through. It took a couple of years to get through it once. Then my senior year, I read it again. And I was looking for wisdom and seeking for a lot of different things. And I've kind of went away from it for a while, and I'm coming back now with a different perspective of all that I've learned. And I'm looking at where has like the Bible have some quotes or some things that relate to other stuff I've studied over the last 15 years. And this is one of these quotes that I kind of talk about a lot. It's kind of one of the things I work with the coaching clients with the differentiates me differently in so many ways. But this quote's it's from Habakkah 2, it's verse 2, verse 3. And what it states is, and I'm going to read it and I'm going to break it down for you a little bit. But it talks about, and then God answered, write what you see, write it out in a big block letter so that it can be read on the run. This vision message is a witness pointing to what's coming. It aches for the coming. It can hardly wait, and it does not lie. If it seems slow in coming, wait, it's on its way. It'll come right on time. Now, why is this quote so critical? If you've been following my podcast for quite some time, you'll know the messages that are in there. But if not, I want to break this down of why this is so powerful. There's so many universal laws in here and tailored to how life works, right? First, God says, write what you see. If you don't like God, put universe, put Yahweh, put Jesus, put whatever you want on there. The label doesn't matter. But it's write what you see, right? The vision within your mind's eye. You got to write it down. You got to take it from the non-physical to put it into the physical. And so when you do that, all of a sudden now you're projecting this out, okay? Write it down on a big block letter so that it can be read on the run. The vision message, right? You cannot imagine something unless it can be possible for you. That is a law. Let me go back to that again. You cannot imagine something unless it is possible for you. Think about that for a second. So think about the things you want to create, what you want to have in your life, how great of a marriage or relationships you want to have with your friends, your family, your partner, your kids. How much money do you want to make? All these things are possible. If you can imagine it, if you can see it in your mind's eye, because it says right in the quote, if you see it in your mind's eye, you can then make it possible. Then it will be shouting out to the world. You want to write it down. This is the process to create things from non-physical into the physical. Now, for you listening to this, maybe going, this is a little out there, everything comes from the non-physical to the physical. My phone right here comes from the non-physical. Someone was on a phone with the old phone with the landline and all that, wanted to go outside and have a conversation and got yanked. And from that moment, they're like, wouldn't it be cool if I can have a phone without a wire? Whoa, non-physical, right? And then started thinking it up. How would it look? How am I going to do that? You're mapping it out because your vision and what you write can be so many different things. And it's how you want to project it through images, through words, through writing it out. But it has to be clear. You have to share that, okay? Then we get into another law, because this is all law of attraction. This is law of vibration, law of manifestation, all these things. But one of the things I want to share is then it says the vision message is a witness pointing to what's coming. It's aching for the coming. It's been said that what you seek is also seeking you. Okay. Whatever you seek in your life is also interested in you. Now, somebody say, how is this to be true? Well, let me take a step back and I want to break this down a little bit. When you project something out there, you're creating an idea. That idea wants to have life, to exist, to be experienced, right? It could be anything in the world. And so when you put the energy there, you're giving it an opportunity to say, oh my goodness, they're calling me. Yes, this is what I want. I want to be there. I'll be the one. This is awesome. This person is going to give me the life to have an experience. It can be an idea, it can be a product, it can be anything you want. It can be how much money you want to make, what kind of office you want to run, what kind of business you want to have, what kind of partner you want to be, what kind of physical health you want to have. It doesn't matter. All that matters is you first off being crystal clear in that perspective. But like I said, what you seek is also seeking you. So it's going to want to be there, okay? And then as we go into this quote, it dives deeper and it doesn't lie. If it seems slow in coming, wait, it's on its way. It'll come right on time. And the quote, some other quotes say, oh, tarry, and tarry just means it takes a long time. This is something I teach a lot with my clients when I'm working with creating a vision. I don't like to put time frames on things because at the end of the day, there's something called divine timing, okay? Everything happens when you're ready. This is another universal law. It's called the law of gender. Everything in life, everything in the physical realm has a gestational period. Now, my gestational period versus someone else's gestational period is different. But if we stick to what we do, if we stay clear to what we want to have, and we set that image out there and we be crystal clear with it, right? What we seek is also going to seek us. And we're using the universal laws, law of attraction, and things along that nature. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Just like the law of consistency follows that also. As long as you're consistently projecting, there's multiple laws in this one quote that really clarifies and gives depth, because it says if you're staying focused with this and if you stick with it, then it's inevitable. It's going to happen. So let's take a step back here, because this is information, right? Great information can maybe be a little bit eye-opening for you. But at the same token, there has to be action, right? Because we live in a world of so much information, and more information that you consume actually, in my opinion, can sometimes hold you back. It did it to me. And I've seen clients that it has done this to also, because there comes a point when you just got to take action. You got to commit to something and take action and work with that. And so when you're looking at your life, now I talk about the 5 M's a lot in mindset and just in my coaching realms. I talk a lot about, the 5 M's you have to always work on. And that's going to be your mindset, M for mindset. They're all M's. So mindset, movement, which is your physical health, marriage, which is all your relationships, mission, your purpose and legacy in life. And then the last one's money. This comes into career, business, and your financial wealth. And so when you look at these 5 M's, these are the 5 things that you want to look at in every avenue to see, how do you want to expand to be that version of you? How do you want to level up? And remember, if you can imagine it, it's possible, because it's law. And so you could not imagine something without it being a potential for you. And so when you understand that everything takes time, the law of gender, everything has gestational periods where it's going to take a period of time before it happens. You can call it divine timing. Know that as long as you commit, law of consistency states, as long as you commit to that, it will become a reality. You just have to stay focused, centered, and concentrate on that, and it will happen. It will. It's law. I'm not making these rules up. I didn't create them. I just studied them, learned them, applied them in my life, and saw a massive transformation in my life in many different arenas. And one of the hardest things, to be transparent, is patience. It's one of the hardest things, because you want something, you want to see it happen. You know that you're doing all the work and it's just not happening, and you get frustrated. But there's a cooking process, just like baking. Baking is a pure science. You have to do everything to the T. You cannot alter something or change something. It has to be to the T and cooked to the certain time. And everything has to be a certain way, or else it's not going to come out great, or it won't come out the way it's supposed to. That's baking. That's life. It's the exact same thing. And so when you're looking at creating the recipe of what you want to do, you have to understand there's going to be a process to achieve just that. And if you do the work, stay consistent, and understand these things, right? Rabakkah 2:2, verse 3, verse 2, verse 3. But if you look at that, remember, write it out. You got to get the non-physical to the physical, right? You got to have a vision. You got to look at it and see it and so forth. This is stuff I talk about all the time. You have to understand my background. The reason why I'm so big on vision is because I've studied multitudes of different religion backgrounds, spirituality backgrounds, and so forth, and all of them talk about vision. Now, a lot of times when I work with people, they all say, oh, I have a vision. This is what I want to do. But you have to understand, when you really do this work, I thought I did too. I had this long written vision. I thought it was all great. And then when I started looking at this, I was actually doing it wrong. And I've studied with a lot of different people, and it was wrong in the sense because it has to be crystal clear and concise. When you truly know something, when you're truly congruent with something, when you're truly straightforward with something, and it's really your truth, there's less words. You don't have to say much. You just say it and that's it. And there's nothing else you have to say. And so it's working with that. But know that this, okay, if I can wrap up this whole entire episode here, is that this. Number one, write out what you desire in life. Write out what you want for 2022. Hell, take it further and do the 5 M's, okay? Second thing you got to understand is that what you seek is also seeking you, okay? It is looking for life. What you want to create to the world and what you want to give to the world and all those things, it is seeking you just as much as you're seeking it, okay? Then we understand that the law of gestation, the law of gender plays a role. You got to understand that everything's divine timing. You have to trust in that no matter what. And then the last is the law of consistency that states that you have to continually be putting into this. Not saying, well, after 3, 6 months or a year later, I haven't got to where I want to get to. This shit don't work. I need to move on to something else. Well, now all of a sudden you change the game. All of a sudden you redirect it. And now all that energy you were putting, the momentum and everything you had there, gone or minimized. And now you're recreating and starting all over. And so the key is this is where people say, I tried that, it didn't work, or I did this and it didn't happen, or I did this and it didn't work out for me. Usually it's that right there. And I know because that was me. In the first 5 years of my career, I was bouncing off walls, creating things 2, 3, 4 months. If I didn't see it pick up fast enough, gone, let's move on to something else. And then I shifted gears. I put this into play. I didn't have expectations. I just stuck to what I wrote out, what I wanted to see, right? Vision boards, all these kind of things. And I said, this is what I'm going to create. In my head, I played it all the time like a tape. Law of consistency, kept going. And what happened? What I saw inside, my eyes were able to see. As Bob Proctor says, what you see in your mind, you're going to hold it within your hand. And I had those experiences in multitudes of ways. And it was fascinating. It was amazing. It was like, how is this happening? And I'm like, okay, how much more can I play with this? And it was fun to do. And so I know it works. And I've helped many clients with this. I've helped clients through COVID who had to shut down their businesses, had no income coming in because the business had to close. And we worked on things to shift gears to truly create what they wanted in their life, what they wanted to project to the world, their gift, and so much more. And now, a year, 2 years later, thriving and killing it. Okay. And why is that? Some of the things I'm sharing, just as simple as this. Just like in health with chiropractors, chiropractic, when a lot of times patients, when you do an adjustment, especially the first one, and they're always like, I will get this a lot most of the time, especially the technique I practice. It was one of the things where it's like, that's it. That's all you're going to do. And I'll walk them through and say, I know your program probably think there's a lot more that needs to be done, but health is actually really simple. There's not really a complicated process. I know that we've been trained and conditioned from medical doctors and the media and all these things to make it seem like health is such a hard thing. But in reality, it's really, really simple. Guess what else is simple? Success. Yes, is there hard work and grind and all those things? Of course there is. But the rules to it are actually very simple. The problem is people get so distracted in this world today that they lose out and they keep shifting directions or listening to all these different people. And the thing is, sometimes you don't need to listen too much anymore. I'll share a quick story before we wrap up. I had somebody who, when I first came out of chiropractic school, I was a Reiki master and trainer, energy medicine practitioner. There's about 10 to 12 different energy modalities I would use, motion releasing and things like that, past life, timeline therapy, motion code, reconnection therapy. I did a lot of different things. But I practiced chiropractic, but I would use other modalities to help people shift and transform. And I had one person who was interviewing a patient, and I was telling her what books I was reading and how much I was reading. At that time, it was about 100, 120, 30 books a year. That's how much I was consuming information. And she looked at me and I go, how many, what books are you reading and so forth? And she's like, I don't read anymore. I'm like, whoa, but you got to read in order to evolve. You got to grow. You got to learn. And she's like, not necessarily. She goes, there comes a point in time where you're going to be more in tune and let it guide you rather than you just going out and listening to what everyone says and listen and download and take that information. And what was fascinating for me is it took about 5 to 6 years from that moment. And what I found out was that was true, because it came to a point where I didn't need to consume as much. And what ended up happening is I consumed less and less information. And I still read maybe anywhere from 10, 15 books to 30 books a year. But what I'll do is I'll hyper focus on one thing and let that guide me. And I'll implement and keep working at it until I implement it in my life and it becomes what I do. And then from there, I'll move on to the next thing. It's drastically a different approach. I read way less than what I used to. But one of the biggest things out of that process is I feel like I'm getting more information now than I was reading 10 times that. So that's what I got for you guys when it comes to staying consistent, practicing, trusting, doing the work and seeing it through. That's going to create the transformation for you, especially in 2022 and beyond. So have fun with this. And guess what? If you need help, if you're looking for someone who can guide you along the process, be an accountability partner, help you stay fine-tuned to what you want to create the game plan, hold you to it, and make that a reality for you, that's me. shoot me a message and on Facebook and Instagram and just put in their podcast, or email me at drvic@empoweryourrally.com and just put 2022 in there. So that's what I got for you guys. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling.